Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another meal prep / batch cooking video. So in this video, there is only one brand new recipe for me anyway. And then I am bringing you guys some brand new recipes that I've never brought to you guys before. But nonetheless, I will have all the recipe links or the recipes written out in the description box below, so you can go down there and just find what you need to find as far as ingredients and measurements. But like always, I hope you get some inspiration and motivation out of this. Let's get in the kitchen and let's get started. All right, so we are going to start out this meal prep with breakfast. Like always, I am going to be making some fathead bagels. I have not made bagels in quite some time, and I figure breakfast sandwiches sound really good. But those are the ingredients we're going to be using. We're going to take 3 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese and put that in that bowl, as well as 2 cups of almond flour, and then also 2.5 ounces of cream cheese. I also went ahead and added 1 tablespoon of baking powder, everything but the bagel seasoning. I'm also going to put in there around 1/2 teaspoon of garlic, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. So you're probably wondering why I did not melt the mozzarella cheese and the cream cheese together first. I have really found that when you add all the ingredients together, everything except for the eggs, and just kind of mix it up and melt everything together, it is so much easier to incorporate, in my personal opinion, because that is pretty much how it came out. And then you just have to mix it up a little bit. It's so much easier. And then the only thing you really have to incorporate into the dough afterwards is the eggs. And you still kind of have to go in with your hands. Make sure you get your hands wet with water so that way the dough does not stick to your hands, because if you don't, it's going to be a sticky mess. And then just make sure that the eggs are nice and incorporated into that dough. Then I personally think the easiest way to divide this up is just put the dough into a huge dough ball and then cut it in half. And then once you cut it in half, you're going to cut those halves in thirds, because this bagel recipe makes 6 bagels. And then I did get butter out. I just wanted to let you guys know I ended up not using the butter because I decided I was just going to throw the everything but the bagel seasoning right into the dough as well, which worked out perfectly. It was so good. I was going to brush the butter on the top and then sprinkle it on the top, but I decided against that. Then you're just going to take each piece of dough and form that into a ball, and then I just shove my thumb through the middle of it and shape it into like a circle, like a bagel. To me, I think that's the easiest way, and I make my holes in the middle pretty large because they will spread out just a little bit. But you are going to want to make sure that your oven is preheated to 400 degrees, and these take, depending on the oven, around 12 to 15 minutes. That is how they came out. Absolutely gorgeous, you guys. Again, you can cut these in half. You can throw these in the toaster. They toast up wonderfully. You can make breakfast sandwiches. You could use, I even use these as like sandwiches for my lunch. If you guys watched any of my vlog videos, you've seen me do that before, but they're delicious. Next up, we're just going to be preparing some simple sausages, so that way we can just have these whenever we're hungry and maybe even throw like a veggie with it. But these are those Tarantino ones that I get at Costco, and I made 2 packages. I always make them in the air fryer, and I think that is just the easiest way. 400 degrees for around 8 minutes. And then once the 8 minutes is finished, I do flip them over and I cook them just a hair longer on the other side. You don't have to, because you remember you are going to be microwaving them, but I like mine a little bit toastier than that. So I do leave the temperature at 400 degrees, and then I do reduce the time to 5 minutes, and they come out like that. That is perfect. Oh my goodness, they are delicious. If you guys haven't tried those sausages from Costco, I highly recommend them. They are so good. I get so many compliments from them when I have company. Next up, I'm going to be making these Teton sausages. I get these at Costco as well. These are about the cleanest hot dogs you are ever going to find on the market, that I have found anyway. But I'm going to make them in the air fryer as well. Again, 400 degrees, and I am going to cook them for around 6 minutes. and they come out perfect. You don't have to flip them or anything. So that is all I do, because remember, we are going to microwave them as we reheat them. But these are delicious. These are just a perfect little protein to have as a quick, easy grab and go. Next up, we're going to be making some sauteed sausage, onion, and peppers. So that is just 2 bell peppers that I cut up, 1 entire onion, and I did use 1 packet of those sausages, the Tarantino ones that you guys saw me make in the air fryer. I just put 1 tablespoon of avocado oil in that skillet, and I'm just going to saute up the 2 bell peppers and 1 onion that I already cut up. I want those to get a little bit soft before I go and add the rest of the ingredients. So again, I'm just gonna let that cook. I do put the lid on there to kind of help it a little bit. Before I do that though, I did go ahead and add around a tablespoon of garlic. You don't have to add that much. You could add a teaspoon, whatever, depending on if you are a garlic lover or not, but we are for sure. Again, put the lid on there. That way it would kind of help those vegetables soften up a little bit. And then once I felt like they were softened up enough, I did go ahead and start adding the rest of the ingredients. So I chopped up 5 of those sausages, because 5 sausages is what's in 1 package of those Tarantino ones. And then I added a 1/2 cup of marinara. I used Rayo, so you can use whatever you want. You could even use tomato sauce if you wanted to. Then I went in with some seasonings. So I added some salt, some pepper, and then I went in with a generous amount of that Tony's seasoning. That is what made this recipe so on point. Oh my gosh, it was delicious. Just gave that a good stir, let all that kind of cook together and all those flavors absorb together. That was the finished product. I served mine in a bowl. I dolloped it with a little bit of daisy sour cream and just a little bit of cheese. So good. Next up, I'm going to be making some Atlantic salmon. Before I get a ton of messages, I know it is farmed and not wild. It is what it is. I usually get wild. Wild is way cleaner for you. So now that I threw that out there, that is how they come in individual packets like that. And I am going to cook 4 of them. I am just going to take around a tablespoon of that garlic with a couple tablespoons of butter. I just melt that in the microwave because that makes the perfect base for salmon, in my opinion. But I love garlic. So I just melt that in the microwave, and then I just baste that right onto the salmon. If you guys have not tried this, it is simple and so delicious. Then I'm just going to go right on top of that with some pepper and some salt. And we're keeping it simple. Like, you could seriously doctor these up so much more, but I personally like simple. And I'm just going to cook them right in the air fryer again. And I am going to put the temperature at 390 degrees. And these only take around 7 minutes to cook. You don't have to flip them or anything. They come out perfect. That's how they came out. Obviously, cook them to your desired doneness, but when we go to eat these, we are going to probably either end up pan searing them or putting them in the microwave if we're at work. Next up, we're going to be making some beef stew. I haven't had beef stew in quite some time. And we're having a cold front here in Arizona. It dropped all the way down into like the mid-90s. I'm just kidding. But I really wanted some beef stew, and that is all the ingredients that we are going to use. I know it looks like a lot, but we are going to make this delicious, and we're going to be making this in the Instant Pot. So the first thing you see me doing is I'm taking an entire onion and I am chopping that with my handy dandy chopper that I got on Amazon. I will link that down below. That thing is the bomb. And then I just cleaned up and cut up the radishes, and I'm soaking those in vinegar water. I do that to hopefully help get the bacteria off. And then that chuck roast that you saw right there, I am cutting that up into little bite-sized pieces. I'm going to put my Instant Pot on saute mode. And then I did take a couple of tablespoons of avocado oil, and I am just going to saute the beef along with the onions. And then also I am going to put the garlic in there. I will have all of the measurements with these ingredients and everything in the description box below, so that way you can just go down there and find all the measurements. But once the beef was pretty much done and the onions started to be translucent, I did go ahead and add in 5 cups of beef broth. I like that organic one that I get at Walmart. So I added an entire carton, and then out of another carton, I just put in there 1 cup, because each carton is 4 cups. And then I added all of those radishes. That was 2 pounds of radishes, because for those of you guys who don't know, radishes kind of take on a little bit of a potato flavoring. Maybe not perfect, but it's pretty close. I'm also adding in there a 1/2 teaspoon of xanthan gum, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And then that's something that I decided to add last minute, because I've seen other people add that to their beef stew. So I was like, I'm going to give it a try, which it was delicious. But that was 2 tablespoons of that red wine vinaigrette. And then also 1.5 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. And then I do go in with some seasonings. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of pepper, as well as some thyme, and then 1 bay leaf. And then I did add some salt as well. And then I just gave that a really good stir. And then we are just going to put the lid on there and let that bad boy cook. Make sure that your Instapot lid is on sealing. And then I just used the manual button, and I cooked that for around 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes, I let it do a natural release, because anytime you cook soup and stuff like that in the Instant Pot, it's almost better just to do a natural release. That's how you really should do it. But I honestly didn't need to cook it that long. I probably could have cooked it 5 minutes and then added the peppers and cooked it another 5 minutes. Because it was pretty much already done. But oh my goodness, y'all, after I added the peppers, I just added an extra 4 minutes. It was so delicious, because the radishes are going to take a little bit longer to cook than the peppers. All I know is this dish is really going to be an amazing dish when fall comes around, like when real fall comes around. So that, again, was so delicious. You guys, you have to try this. It's not going to let you down. Again, I'll have all the ingredients and everything that you need to know in the description box. Next up is the recipe you guys are very much waiting for. I've gotten a lot of messages on these. These are called the Keto Blondies. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take some, it says golden monk fruit. I didn't have that, so I used the brown sugar swerve. And then I took the butter, so it's going to be a 1/2 cup of butter that I melted in the microwave, and I just mixed those together. And then once that was mixed well, I took 1 teaspoon of vanilla and I added that to the bowl, mixed up that, and then I started adding the dry ingredients. So it's 2 cups of almond flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and then I stirred that really well. Then it's going to take 2 large eggs, and then basically all your mix-ins that you want. I used keto chocolate chips, so I used the Lily's brand chocolate chips, and then I also went in with some 95% dark Lindt chocolate as well. It comes in the little squares. I literally just broke it up with my hand, so that way it was kind of like chunks in there. But you can add nuts, you can add whatever kind of add-ins that you desire. Then I just took, that is an 8x8 inch pan. I sprayed the heck out of it so it would not stick, dumped it in there, spread it out, and then I'm telling you, you guys, this recipe is not gonna disappoint you. Make sure your oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and it says to bake them for 20 to 25 minutes. My oven took about 27, 28 minutes. Just wanted to throw that out there, but always watch, because all the ovens are different, but these are not gonna disappoint you. These are definitely on my top list of desserts now. I will leave the link to this in the description box below. Once again, that's going to conclude this week's meal prep / batch cooking video. I really hope you guys enjoy these recipes. Those bagels are so good. Cut them in half, put them in the toaster, make some bagel sandwiches. And oh my goodness, all these recipes were so on point. That Blondie recipe, again, highly recommend it. If you love desserts, you are going to love that. But follow me on Instagram. I'll leave my Instagram link in the description box below. Let me know if you guys make any of these or try any of these, or just let me know what you're meal prepping. I love to see what you guys are meal prepping. But like I always say, I hope this gave you all the motivation and inspiration that you need to get in the kitchen and meal prep for yourself and your family. But I'm going to be praying for you, your family, and your country. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate every single one of you guys. And don't forget to go out there and make today even better than yesterday. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.
On my own, but I don't know why. You hit the road, but you don't realize I won't look back when you're alone.